Welcome to the Midnight Storytellers Legacy Project. I'm Chloe, and if you make yourself comfortable, I have a story to tell you. In the very long ago, all this part of the world was covered in forest. And in the heart of that forest, a sapling started to grow. It began to grow up from the forest floor, but the huge old trees around it overshadowed it. In order to reach the sunlight, this new tree had to twist and reach and stretch. So as it grew up into a very funny shape. After many years, people started to come into the forest, and the first of them were craftsmen looking for the finest timber to make into furniture for their houses, for example. But when they came to the twisted tree, they said, "Oh, we'll never get a straight plank out of that. Leave it. It's useless." So the twisted tree was left to grow bigger and taller and stronger. And a time later, there were more people coming into the forest, and they would cut down anything that came to hand. They just wanted some firewood. But when they came to the twisted tree, they said, "Well, that's no good to us. That's useless. If you put logs from that one on the fire, look at all those knots. It'll spit sparks everywhere. No one will want that. It's useless. Leave it." And so the twisted tree was left to grow even bigger and taller and stronger. Centuries passed, and the rest of the forest was felled, or it was knocked over by storms, undermined by beetles and rot, until at last the twisted tree was the only one left, and it stood in a town square with traffic grumbling and grinding and snarling all around. By then, the canopy spread from one side to the other of that square, and in storms, people in their blue anoraks would scuttle for shelter under the branches. On sunny evenings, when the traffic went away, people would come out with their drinks from bars and pubs and cafes, and they would come into the square, into the shade of that tree. Someone had put out tables and chairs. Another sensible person had installed a bench right around the base of the tree trunk. And old people would come with their glasses of drink, and they talk about their lives and play cards and chess. One evening, an old man came up to join his friends around the base of the twisted tree. And the friends could see that the old man was upset, and as he came to them, one of them said, "What's the matter?" The old man said, "My wife says I'm useless. She's constantly nagging at me to do this, and when I've done it, she doesn't like the way I've done it, and then she says I don't complete it, and it's all hopeless, it's useless. What is the point of being alive if I'm useless?" One of the friends got up and put his arm around the old man's shoulders. He said, "You see this tree? A lot of people over the centuries have said this tree was useless. But if it was useful, the way people expected it to be, it never would have been left to grow ancient and splendid and give us shelter from storms and heat. So this tree is doing just fine, just as it is. And you, my friend, you're doing just fine, just as you are."